French, I uttered in a soft yet astonished voice. Across from me, a client is seated, apparently sensing my unease, with a puzzled expression. What are you so surprised about? It's written in the documents, isn't it? Prompted by the CEO, I glanced at the document he was pointing to. It clearly stated, French speak in. Chi client. Interpreter allowed, if any. However, my copy of the document didn't have this remarks. This was a crucial business negotiation determining the fate of the company, ideally to be handled by a manager. Unexpectedly, I was assigned to handle this client. I hadn't been notified that it was a negotiation conducted in French. While I was panicking, the client spoke up. I'm afraid we cannot expect any proposal from your end. Should I consider canceling this deal? May I excuse myself? The client spoke politely but was obviously upset. Upon hearing this, the client began to pack their belongings, preparing to leave the room. I'm so sorry. There's been a mishap on our end. Please wait. My apology was overridden by another voice that echoed across the room. I'll explain the details, she said. Immediately after, everyone was taken aback, because this person is known as the out-of-the-loop employee in the department. My name is Alex, a lively 27-year-old, known for being outgoing and sociable. I've been working at a company Cherry Precision Engineering since graduating from university. Previously, I was assigned the sales of raw materials such as metals. Recently, I was transferred to a new department. Feeling a bit uncertain about my first reassignment, I entered the room with a burst of energy, ready to embrace the change. Good morning. I'm Alex. Starting today, I'll be working here. Everyone in the room turned to look at me all at once. Your desk is that empty one over there, said the department head, Mr. Thompson, sitting at the farthest desk, holding one ear and pointing gruffly to a clear desk. I wonder, was my voice a bit too loud? Reflecting on this, I headed towards my assigned desk. As I settled in, I noticed a woman in the corner of the room, unlike other colleagues, busily sorting files into cardboard boxes. Even from just a glimpse of her profile, it was clear she was quite beautiful. When I greeted everyone earlier, I hadn't noticed her in my blind spot. Wondering if she had even heard my greeting, I approached her. Excuse me, I'm Alex, newly assigned here today. Nice to meet you. I made sure to keep my voice low this time, so as not to cause any disturbance. I heard you. I'm Emily. Nice to meet you too. She glanced at me briefly, then quickly returned her attention to the cardboard boxes. She has soft but clear, beautiful voice. Though just a glance, she is definitely gorgeous, I thought. I wanted to talk to her more, but was interrupted by my colleague's voice calling me. What's up? As I reached by his side, one of them spoke in hushed tones. Ahem. Lesson 101. Don't interfere with Emily. It's the way it is in this department. Why? I asked, genuinely puzzled. Alex, just listen to my tip. Everyone does that, he said. Then, he instructed me to review a list on the computer and return to his seat. While guessing the reason behind his advice, I began my work at my desk. Weeks passed since I started my assignment to this department. Observing casually, I noticed Emily was treated distinctly differently from the other colleagues. She seemed to be what you'd call a sidelined employee, always given menial tasks. No one ever offered to help her. I tried to approach and talk to her several times, but either others stopped me, or Emily herself refused, making conversation impossible. Time passed with these unresolved feelings. That day was particularly busy, being the end of the week. I was working on my computer but hit a dead end, causing my work to grind to a halt. Looking for help, I glanced around, but everyone seemed too busy to ask. Just then, I saw Emily, who had just returned to the room. I couldn't afford to pause and waste my time. Despite warnings from others, I rushed over to Emily. Excuse me, Emily. I need some help. She seemed puzzled by me, but she responded, It's better to ask someone else. Everyone's busy right now, and you're the only one I can ask. Please. I requested earnestly. Emily seemed hesitant, but then she cautiously began to speak. What can I do for you? I thanked her and explained the part of my work I was stuck on. If you do it this way, the problem should be solved. Her answer was precise, and she explained it in a way that was easy for me, still new to this, to understand, almost like a teacher. Impressed, I found myself staring at her. Alex, was that unclear? I can explain again if. Perhaps Emily thought I was silent because I didn't understand her explanation. She paused her work to clarify further, but I quickly stopped her, saying, "No, it's okay. I was just breathless. You saved my day. Thank you so much, Emily." I expressed gratitude honestly. "It's nothing, really. But I'm glad I could help," she replied. When I glanced her, there was a shy smile on Emily's face. "She's very charming." I could feel my face heating up. Get back to work. If I need your help, I'll ask again. Bye." Embarrassed, I blurted out my words and hurried back to my desk. Even though the issue was resolved, my work wasn't making any progress. I found myself staring at the computer screen, recalling Emily's smile from earlier. Yes, that day, I fell for Emily. From then on, I found reasons to talk to her. Every inquiry regarding the work, she always gives precise answers, and she possesses proficient computer skills. She seems to have all the major client information memorized, effortlessly answering without looking at any documents. Though I observed for a short period, but I can assure my analysis is correct. Emily's competency is outstanding in this department. Yet, why on earth is she only given menial tasks? My curiosity grew day by day. While I got the chance to talk with her more frequently, Emily wouldn't engage in any small talk, and limited our conversations to work-related questions. Still undeterred, I continued to approach her, to the point where the colleagues who initially stopped me now seemed half amused. That day, during break time, I was wandering around looking for Emily. I spotted her at the vending machine, choosing a drink, and called out to her, "Emily." As soon as I spoke, her expression clouded over, a detail I failed to notice. "Alex, please don't interact with me anymore." Then she ran off, leaving me behind. It was nothing but rejection. I was shocked by the words, standing frozen in place. Since then, Emily openly avoided me. Whenever our eyes met, she quickly looked away. I knew I was at fault. Emily built a fortress between us. While my sense of remorse striking me, Mr. Thompson, the department head, called me over. I thought I saw Emily flinch at his voice, but maybe it was my imagination. "Did you call for me, Mr. Thompson?" I hurried to his desk, only to be met with his displeased expression. "Lately, you've been paying a lot of attention to Emily. That means you must be pretty free, right?" "No, I found Emily could provide me very clearly to my inquiries. She's helpful. I'm not interested in your opinion. If you're that free, I have work for you. Summarize the information for these companies on this list and submit it first thing tomorrow morning." He then roughly tossed a stack of documents into his desk. A glance was enough to tell. There was no way I could finish it all during today's working hours. All of this. Isn't this a bit unreasonable? Are you saying you can follow my instruction? I'm your department head. His intimidating attitude was evident in both his words and expression. Unreasonable as it was an order from a superior. I had no choice but to swallow any words of objection. Understood. Then get to it quickly. If you can't, expect a low evaluation score. I could sense his smirking, even without seeing his face. Knowing that seeing his face would only upset me further, I quickly gathered the thick stack of documents and hurried back to my desk. I felt the pitiful glances from my colleagues. This is what they meant. Don't interfere with Emily. Frustration mingling with determination as I focused solely on my computer and the documents. Hours later, well past the end of the workday, only a few remained in the office. Mr. Thompson, my boss, made sarcastic remarks saying, "Hang in there, you are only halfway through," even though I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to meeting the looming deadline, foregoing my lunch break to ensure that every moment was utilized in tackling the tasks at hand. In the end, he went home on quitting time, as if he didn't care my effort. "May I help you?" It was Emily, standing beside me. No one had offered to help me out all throughout the day except Emily. I wanted to express my overwhelming gratitude to her, but my voice was hoarse from hours of extensive work. "Sorry, my voice. It's okay. I know you've been working non-stop. Why don't you take a break? Here, it's for you." She handed me a can of ice-cold soft drink. Did she buy it for me? Great. Thank you. As I gulped down the ice-cold drink, I felt I was dehydrated as if the desert quickly absorbed the liquid. This is the best thing I've ever tasted. You're exaggerating. Emily burst into laughter. I guess my way of talking or my actions triggered her laughter. As I watched Emily, still laughing innocently, my motivation resurfaced. Thank you. With your help, I think I can keep going. I grinned widely at her. But then Emily's expression turned serious. Such a cute smile disappeared, I thought. Alex, doing all this alone is impossible. Let me help. She began bringing half of the documents to her desk. I tried to stop her, but Emily began typing at an incredible speed. The office was quiet, with only the sound of keyboards echoing. Only the two of us were present. Finally, I had inputted all the information, and the job was done. I stretched my arms wide. 2 hours had passed since we started working together. We're done. Good work, she said, standing next to me, having already finished her part. I quickly stood up saying, Emily, thank you so much for today. I couldn't have finished without you. Really, thank you. I'm glad I could help. You did a lot, so there wasn't much left for me to do. Emily smiled modestly, but honestly, the amount she completed was nearly the same as what I had done all day, which means she finished in 2 hours what took me nearly a whole day. Isn't that incredible? Yet, Emily seemed to genuinely believe she hadn't done much. I was once again struck by her competence. That made me wonder even more why someone so capable was treated this way. I decided to ask her directly, Emily, why are you treated this way despite being so good at your job? I instantly regretted how blunt my question was. But Emily didn't get angry. Instead, she looked down sadly. When I first joined, it wasn't like this. Then, Mr. Thompson assumed the role of department head. What happened was, he frequently asked me out to dinner, but I refused. That was the turning point. He stopped assigning me tasks that I was supposed to handle. Before I knew it, I was only left with menial tasks. That's awful. A lot of people, like you, stood up for me and expressed their concern to him. But all of them ended up getting their evaluations lowered or demoted. They all left eventually. That's terrible. I couldn't say anything. I was at a loss for words. I had never imagined someone close to me in my own company would have to suffer like this. I wanted you to stay away from me so you wouldn't be a target of his scrutiny. I thought that as long as I worked quietly in the corner, I wouldn't bother anyone. Emily's eyes, filled with sadness and tears, pained my heart. Neither she nor those who tried to help her did anything wrong. It was the tyrannical Mr. Thompson who was at fault. I was really happy that you, Alex, relied on and talked to me. But I didn't want to cause you trouble, so I said those words. But it was already too late. I'm sorry. I noticed Emily's shoulders trembling. At that moment, I firmly denied her words. Emily, you did nothing wrong. It's me who should apologize for insensitively talking to you without knowing the situation. And then, I continued. I know it might be wrong to say this now, but I like you, Emily. She was surprised by my sudden confession. We've only known each other for less than a month, but I fell for your smile at first sight. I want to see more of your smile. Will you let me protect you? I expressed my feelings earnestly, but Emily looked confused. I'm happy to hear that, but It's okay if you don't answer now. I just don't want to see you sad. Will you let me be selfish in this way? I understood that it might be difficult for her to feel the same about me, especially since she deliberately avoided me. But all I wanted was to protect Emily from Mr. Thompson's malice. I was determined to do just that. She remained silent, but eventually nodded. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, too. But please don't push yourself. I've gotten used to this situation. No one should have to get used to circumstances like this. Smiling suits you, Emily. So please, smile. I said, smiling at her. I wasn't sure if I had a perfect smile under such nervousness and fatigue, but I put all my feelings into it. Emily, although faintly, smiled back at me. The next day, I went straight to Mr. Thompson's desk to inform him that I had completed the tasks he had assigned the day before. He scoffed, thinking it impossible, but when he checked the content, the smirk vanished from his face. Indeed, it's done. No mistakes, it seems. Then that's good. I said and headed back to my desk with proud. I gave Emily a thumbs up sign, and she smiled back at me. From then on, I made an effort to work closely with Emily. Even for tasks I completed with others, I sought her opinion. Initially, my colleagues were hesitant to interact with Emily. However, once they gave it a try, they began to realize that she possesses necessary knowledge and skills, most importantly, thoughtfulness. Mr. Thompson appeared visibly displeased with the changes and even attempted to convince me to cease cooperation with Emily. However, I responded with a smile, saying, "For us, working with Emily is more efficient and can save time in completing our tasks. Isn't that fascinating?" By then, others had already begun to view Emily as a reliable and competitive person. Consequently, she gained department-wide support, leaving Mr. Thompson speechless. I couldn't help but feel a bit smug seeing his frustrated face, as Emily's skills and kindness were now recognized by everyone, and she was no longer isolated. Then, leveraging a connection from my previous assignment, I secured a significant opportunity with a rapidly growing foreign corporation. If I could close the deal, the company stood to gain $2 billion. Even Mr. Thompson was impressed with the potential, and securing this client was deemed a major project for the department. Mr. Thompson was tasked with leading the negotiations, while Emily and I were assigned the responsibility of preparing the necessary documents. To my surprise, he instructed us to collaborate on handling the documentation to ensure accuracy and quality. Emily was initially hesitant, but eventually accepted his directive. Her inclusion was warmly welcomed by everyone on the team, and Emily seemed genuinely happy to be recognized. I, too, was thrilled. Mr. Thompson personally prepared the preliminary documents, detailing the information about the counterpart and key points to note. "This project is crucial for our company. I am counting on you both." He encouraged us, a complete turnaround from his previous demeanor. Surprised by his change of attitude, but more overwhelmed by excitement, I didn't ponder too much on it and continued working diligently with Emily. Emily was incredible, efficiently organizing the necessary materials and subtly suggesting improvements when we hit roadblocks. Her brilliance was undeniable, and I was determined not to be outdone. Consequently, my efforts intensified. I could sense Emily smiling beside me, which motivated me even more. Several days into the project, with Emily's support, we managed to create the best negotiation materials to date. This accomplishment gave us a strong sense of confidence. Upon presenting the final documents to Mr. Thompson for review, his response was affirming. "Well done. This looks promising." There was a round of cheers from Emily, myself, and the rest of the team at Mr. Thompson's approval. However, we all knew the real challenge was yet to come. The day of the big negotiation arrived. The negotiation was set at the conference room, and the room was filled with important figures from both parties. Emily and I were there, anxiously waiting for the negotiation to start. However, Mr. Thompson, who was supposed to lead the negotiation, was nowhere to be seen. At that moment, I received a message from Mr. Thompson on my phone. It read, "There seems to be an accident nearby, and I'll be late. I'm leaving the negotiation in your hands." I muttered in disbelief. Emily, noticing me, looked at me with concern. I whispered to her that Mr. Thompson would be late for the meeting. He said he entrusted the negotiation to me. She seemed surprised, but soon became deeply concentrated, as if she were thinking something, probably worried about me. "Don't worry. We've worked hard for this. We'll make it through," I reassured her. However, Emily still seemed contemplative. I relayed Mr. Thompson's message to the president and my colleagues, although they raised some concerns but ultimately agreed. The negotiation began on time, but unfortunately for me, a completely unexpected challenge arose. The initial greetings were exchanged in French. This development caught me off guard. I had always struggled with French since my student days. I had never encountered an occasion that required French comprehension skills in my entire career. I didn't know what to do. Making a deal with this billion-dollar client in French. Help me, God, I thought. I hardly understood their French conversation, but I picked up some words along the lines of "I'll explain on behalf of the person in charge." All eyes in the room turned to me. As I remained motionless, the facilitator asked me in our language, "What's the matter?" I stammered, no, it's just that. I need to speak in French, right? I asked, clinging to a sliver of hope. The facilitator looked puzzled. The president, sitting next to me, pointed to a document and spoke. What are you talking about? It's clearly written right here. I glanced at the document he was pointing to, which read French-speaking client. Interpreter allowed, if any. I double-checked my copy, but no remarks there. No wonder I have no idea. The source documents have no such remarks. Why and how such a discrepancy happened? Now is not the time to find the reason why. My French skills are killing me. What shall I do? My mind is panic-stricken, but I'm too flustered to think of anything. The room began to stir with my apparent confusion. What's going on here? Someone exclaimed. No, it's just a mistake on our part. I vaguely heard amidst the conversation. I felt in mental block. As I stood petrified, the client, sighing in frustration and showing anger and disdain, began to stand up, preparing to leave. That's when the conference room door burst open. I'm sorry I'm late. Please accept my apologies. Alex here has caused you inconvenience. I instructed him to thoroughly check the notes, but obviously he missed it. Mr. Thompson exaggeratedly gestured as he entered the room. Such a disappointment. I gave him a chance to shine in such an important deal. He said loudly enough for everyone to hear. I stood in shock as Mr. Thompson continued to speak loudly. I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience. Allow me to take over from here. Please wait. Layered over Mr. Thompson's voice was a clear, assertive tone that filled the room, drawing everyone's attention. Standing beside me was Emily. I will explain the proposal to everyone. She began to speak fluently in French. Although my French skills were almost non-existent, I could pick up enough words to realize she was explaining our proposal according to the documents we had prepared. Naturally, our materials did not include a French translation, meaning Emily was translating everything in her head on the spot. Witnessing her exceptional skill left me in awe, a feeling that had become familiar whenever I encountered her competence. Gradually, the restless room calmed down, with only Emily's clear voice echoing throughout. Mr. Thompson sat open-mouthed before being prompted to sit by the president. During the Q&A session, Emily seamlessly translated their questions for me and relayed my answers to them back into French. After both parties exchanged several conversations, she concluded with a smile and a bow, signaling the end of the session. As she lifted her head, applause erupted from the client's side. Though I couldn't understand the words, I imagined they were expressing their admiration for her. I joined in the applause instinctively. Emily continued to speak in French, occasionally glancing my way, making me curious. However, I maintained my smile, doing my best to appear competent. Some from the client approached me, speaking in French. Once again, Emily quickly translated for me and saved me from the awkward moment. They said, "We would have missed a great opportunity if we had called the meeting to an end. Your proposal was excellent," she relayed. "Really? That's great. Merci beaucoup," I replied in my broken, almost transliterated French. Despite my awkward response, they smiled and shook my hand. Thus, the crucial project, pivotal for our company, was a resounding success. The contract was signed, and upon returning to the office, all of us celebrated the achievement. Colleagues from other departments who had attended the meeting shared stories of Emily's impressive language skills and adept handling of the situation, leading everyone in the office to praise her. Emily really saved us there. The summa cum laude graduate from the Harvard. As expected, she's a crucial asset to our company, the president said, causing everyone, including me, to express their surprise. Emily was soon surrounded by colleagues, and I watched from a distance, smiling at her apparent discomfort yet underlying happiness. "Good morning," I greeted cheerfully the next day, heading to my desk with a spring in my step. After placing my bag down, I looked around for Emily. She had left early the previous day due to the president's consideration, so we hadn't had much time to talk. As I searched, one of my colleagues informed me, "Alex, Emily has been called to the president's office." I responded, "Is that so? Perhaps she's being offered an executive secretary position or a higher-up position." "You got it right. She can't fully exert her abilities and skills here. She shouldn't have been with us." It's sad to think we might have to say goodbye to Emily after finally getting close to her. Though unsure of the exact purpose behind a closed-door meeting, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as Emily was called to proceed into the room. I was overwhelmed with a mix of emotions and found myself speechless. Then, a woman appeared at the entrance of the room. "Is Alex here? The president is requesting you to proceed to his office." "What? Oh, yes. I'll be right there." Not just Emily, but me too. Once again, the department started buzzing with speculation. Alex as well. Indeed, he closed the big deal. Cool. I might be the next on his roll call. And everyone started patting me on the back and shoulders, sharing their excitement and support. However, there were one person who was unpleasant with the exciting mood. Mr. Thompson, the department head. He uttered, "Alex is summoned to receive a notice of transfer. You know, due to his mishap yesterday, that almost caused us to lose a client," he said, laughing mockingly. I wanted to assert that it was his fault, but without any proof, my hands were tied. The possibility of being blamed for the incident was not zero. Fully prepared for a demotion, I headed to the president's office. When I entered the room, I found the president and Emily inside. "Hello, Alex. Thank you for your time." The president greeted me. "May I ask why I am summoned?" I inquired. The president began to speak with a smile. "Thanks to both of you, the deal was a success. I wanted to express my gratitude. As a recognition of her achievement, Emily will be transferred to the foreign division of the sales department 1, the position she had requested. She will also continue to handle the contract we just secured. Sales department 1. That's incredible, Emily. Congratulations." "Thank you, Alex," Emily replied, blushing slightly. "The sales department 1 is considered as the prestigious division in our company, especially its foreign division. It was a clear promotion for someone of Emily's caliber. However, it also meant that Emily and I would part ways. I couldn't help feeling a bit sad, even though it was a happy occasion." Sensing my gloom, the president continued, "Now, Alex, the reason I called you here is also related to Emily's transfer." "What do you mean?" I replied, puzzled. "Emily possesses exceptional job skills that make her outstanding. I anticipate her performance will exceed my satisfaction in her new assignment, though envy and jealousy may arise. I would like you to support her in the same department. Your proposal yesterday was truly impressive, and both our company and the client hold you in high regard. Thank you for your kind words and appreciation. However, I'm certain I lack the ability for the position. I would be more than happy to support Emily, but I'm aware of my capacity and believe I don't have enough ability to provide the support she needs." But Emily interrupted me. "You don't know yourself at all. You've been a great help to me. It was because of you that I found the courage to speak up yesterday. I want you by my side, Alex." I barely heard her last few words as she became very emotional, but I understood that she needed me. I wanted to shout out my overflowing happiness, but I managed to remain calm since the president was with us. "Emily just explained to me in detail how much you supported her in your department and how much focus and passion you brought to the recent proposal. I believe you have unique strengths. Alex, do you accept this offer?" Refusing such an offer after being encouraged by both the president and Emily seemed unthinkable. I looked straight at the president and said, "Though I'm inexperienced, I will do my best to contribute to the company." The president and Emily both smiled approvingly at my response. "Thank you both of you for having accepted the offer. However, there's one more thing I need to discuss with you," he said. "Really?" I was surprised, while Emily seemed to have an inkling of what was coming. "Yes, it's about yesterday's negotiation. There were some concerns that I had to look into." He crossed his hands in front of his face while wearing a serious expression. He explained that Mr. Thompson's behavior yesterday raised suspicions, leading him to doubt something fishy was going on. My panic stayed at the start of the negotiation, Mr. Thompson's conveniently timed entrance, and most importantly, the discrepancies between the negotiation documents we had and those sent to the president. Based on the investigation, there were no accidents near the company yesterday. It's likely that Mr. Thompson's delay was fabricated. Furthermore, the documents for the negotiation have been maliciously revised by Mr. Thompson. The original documents we received didn't have the remarks French-speaking client. However, Mr. Thompson added these remarks and distributed the modified documents to everyone except us. The president muttered, "Just as I thought." The fact itself clearly indicates Mr. Thompson's malice. He intentionally didn't inform to documentation in charge that the client requires French text documents. So, you're saying I was set up to fail from the start? It's hard to believe that a professional would act based on personal vendettas. Both the president and Emily didn't deny it. Mr. Thompson became the subject of a company-wide investigation, and the findings have revealed multiple counts of misconduct. His treatment of Emily and the cases of employees who allegedly resigned due to his malicious acts also came under scrutiny. The president informed us that Mr. Thompson would be called in for a hearing. In that negotiation, we were just one step away from disaster. We could have lost the client. I never thought Mr. Thompson was such a silly man. This is all due to my lack of oversight. I sincerely apologize to both of you and to those employees who left. I promise to impose an appropriate penalty on him. The president expressed his sincere apology. Seeing his sincere attitude and apology made me feel secure in working under his leadership. A strong desire to contribute to the company's success started to grow in my heart. True to his words, Mr. Thompson was summoned after us. He allegedly severely accused of misconducts, including schemes regarding the negotiation and his habitual abusive attitude towards Emily and other subordinates. Eventually, he was demoted and transferred to a regional branch. Mr. Thompson is interested in Emily, who is beautiful and competent. Once Emily declined his persistent invitation for an outing, he began to harass her. He even got rid of anyone who tried to protect her and seemed satisfied with it. Thinking about how Emily suffered needlessly for such a ridiculous reason made me angry. However, the president has decided to punish him accordingly, and Emily assured me she was fine now. Therefore, I decided to stop dwelling on Mr. Thompson. From tomorrow, we will start working in a new department. Emily will surely excel and shine there. I am very happy to be with her, but I wonder if I can truly be her support. Alex, what's wrong? Do you have any problem? Emily asked, peering into my face with concern. Her proximity made my heart race and my face feel hot. No. I was just wondering if I can really do well in the new department, I replied, scratching my head with a slightly uncertain smile. Being energetic is my pride and the only weapon I have, but honestly, I wasn't sure if I could keep up in such a prestigious department. You're still saying that? You'll be fine, Alex. Emily smiled warmly at me. You stood up to Mr. Thompson's pressure without giving in. You brought positive change to the department with your open-mindedness, unlocking barriers between me and our colleagues. The success of the negotiation was also thanks to the proposal you prepared. Be proud of yourself. You should have high self-esteem. Her clear and confident voice resonated straight to my heart. I'm really happy to be able to work with you again in the same department, Alex. I want to stay with you more. I asked the president for a favor to let me do that. She said with a shy smile, similar to the first time I saw her smiling. It seemed like her cheeks and ears were blushing. Really? Is that true? I asked, surprised. Yes. I like you, Alex. It took me a while to say it, but you were still waiting for an answer, right? Emily looked a bit anxious towards the end, making her even more endearing to me. In a spontaneous reaction, I hugged her tightly. Emily, thank you. I like you too. Alex, it's a bit tight. In my haste, I tried to loosen my grip, but Emily's arms were firmly wrapped around my back, holding me close. When I slightly eased my hold to look at her face, our eyes met. She was smiling the most adorable smile I had ever seen. It was the moment when our feelings for each other bore fruit. Emily was not just a beautiful person with great interpersonal skills and the top graduate of a prestigious university. She was much more than that. Her success came from never forgetting to care about others. I too wanted to grow and learn in this new environment. Standing beside her, smiling gently, I felt sure that I could do it.